Hello, my name is Evie and I'm speaking to you today from the UK, England, and I'm also speaking to you with multiple figurative hats on as a qualified and experienced primary and early years teacher, having studied a Bachelor of Education at Edinburgh University in Scotland and subsequently teaching from rural Scotland through to central London. Since then, I'm also a mum of 2 and a 5-year-old, as well as being founder and CEO of Boromi. To give you a quick nutshell, this is a tour into what Boromi is. We are a non-profit nationwide network of play libraries, and we exist so that every child has the opportunity to flourish within a home environment that positively supports their development in their early and most formative years. Through our Play Libraries network, we work in partnership with settings across the UK to empower parents and caregivers to nurture their child's early learning and development through increasing the frequency and improving the quality of the play and talk that's happening together at home. In terms of my own leadership journey over the past few years, there are 5 things that I wanted to share with you today. And the first of those being my understanding of the wider problem. And I feel like, of course, this is a logical place for my leadership journey to really start. And it goes without saying that as a teacher, I've always been incredibly passionate about making a difference to the lives of young children. But actually a turning point for me within my journey was when I really started to become acutely aware of the importance of those first 5 years and of the critical and timely need to get it right within that window and what we needed to do to really make that happen. I think through my own first-hand experience and my wider reading around this area, I soon saw and identified a problem and a need where I really felt that I could help and make that difference. And that being that we know that children, and particularly those from lower income and disadvantaged homes, are reaching the age of 5 without many of those important foundation skills that they need to thrive and go on to reach their potential. And we know that gaps that emerge over this time only get harder and more challenging to close as these children go throughout the school process and get older. We also know, hand in hand with that, that what happens over this window of time, what happens at home has the greatest impact upon those long-term outcomes over and above any other factor. But factors such as challenging home environments or fewer opportunities to develop language skills and a lack of time and resources to facilitate shared play are impacting that early learning and development of children. And so the second area of my leadership journey that I wanted to share with you with this learning in mind is how we've evolved from testing to piloting to launching a solution to help address and support families with these challenges. I haven't got that much time to go kind of delve into the many iterations of Boromi and how we've gone from a plastic wallet stapled on the back of my classroom door through to a nationwide network of play libraries. But some of the really important moments on this journey, I feel, were this early testing for a number of years within my own classroom to really get that greater understanding of the problem and how we can best support families with that. And then taking the learning from that testing to piloting externally for the first time with a local school, and then again taking the learning from that pilot into kind of soft launching our play libraries for the first time in 2018. And I think the really important thing to stress here is that it was and very much is a continued journey, and it did not go from A to B overnight, and it will be a journey that we continue on. And I think that's a really key part of my leadership journey. And the third element I wanted to share with you is how I've always really prioritized having a clear understanding of the problem that I'm trying to solve and the overall mission that I'm working towards. I think this can sound really obvious, but when you're working at a small scale or independently on your own, or you're at the very beginning of early stages of something, having that clear understanding, having that clear theory of change understanding of your impact and the impact you're working to achieve is vital, but can be something that often is overlooked. And I think a key takeaway from my journey that I feel is important to share is that you're never too small or too early to be thinking these things through and to be really understanding that purpose and what you're working towards and what the steps towards that end result are. And again, this links to the previous point, but the fourth element I wanted to share really is the biggest, I feel the biggest share from me and the biggest lesson learned on my journey so far. And this is the ability and the willingness to adapt and evolve. And having, like I said, having that clear understanding of your impact makes this a lot easier. But in a nutshell, I identified a need, I created a solution that I felt addressed that need, but need changes and we won't have the impact we need to have if we blindly continue on that path and that kind of stable trajectory that we set out on at the beginning. And I feel like an apt example of this is the recent and ongoing pandemic. Again, I haven't got time to really go into details here, but the needs of our families that we're working for and with changed overnight. And as a result, we had to change our solution and our program overnight to continue being able to have that impact. And within 2 weeks, we changed the model from providing Boromi boxes through our school play libraries to providing Keep Me boxes direct to family homes that were able to provide those essential learning materials and modelled play opportunities that were more important to be sharing then than ever before. And we were able, from the first to the last lockdown in the UK, over 5,000 boxes reached family homes. So it just is a really great example of how that ability to pivot and to be okay with that evolution of an idea is so important. And that's been a huge lesson that I've learned on my leadership journey. And the final thing that I wanted to share, just to close up, has been a huge part of my journey, and that's really having my eyes opened to this incredible kind of wider early childhood world and community. As an individual working on developing a concept and growing an organisation, I feel can be a really lonely place to be. But the talented and passionate, dedicated early years network has been such an ongoing source of support for me personally. Similarly, as an organisation, as a result, we champion, we try to really champion the mindset that it's okay to not have the answers, and we encourage mistakes to be made, and we really, prioritize sharing our learning and connecting with the community. And we do everything we can to do that and to talk about, or for me personally, to talk about my experience and mistakes and connect with that community around me, because uplifting and growing and championing the early years sector is more important now than ever before. We're at the end of the day, we're all fighting the most important fight, and we can't do it on our own. Thank you very much for listening, and I would really welcome kind of continuing this conversation with you.